fucking kidding me? That soundtrack is amazing. You got the touch. You got the power. How do you?
I was gay the whole time.
That's the next. Oh.
No, there's no way it was. There's no way a panda fighting kung fu for a third time was any better than the first time.
If you want more Rugrats talk and more talking about people's sisters that you don't know, you guys hit that subscribe. I'll let your boy.
So welcome. This is episode 6 of /.
Is it? I thought it was like
No,
8.
it's like 10 or 11.
Yeah, I was gonna say like it's
David just says we say 6 every time now. That's what he
Okay.
wants. So
great.
it helps him keep it
I'm
organized.
against doing anything that he suggests.
He's not here
To
tonight.
be honest.
So we're gonna have fun, and it's gonna be an enjoyable episode. Probably have a lot of high spirits.
Probably no horrific,
there's-
much less horrific shit will be said that will piss people off.
There's nothing that will get us banned. We're not. If you couldn't see on camera, I just straight don't know how to drink from a can.
I saw it. And he's like this. I saw from the angle. He's like.
I was talking and I tilted it just enough.
It's just like a big blob.
That's fantastic.
That's great.
Luckily, the microphone blocked 99% of it.
What the fuck is wrong with you?
Yeah, but I brought it up because it was hilarious.
All right then.
All right, cool. You ready?
You guys see that semi-accident? Where a car like slammed into the back of the semi, and the semi didn't realize it, and it just dragged this car for 4 miles down the freeway.
Jesus Christ.
No.
And the dude's like filming. So the dude's like filming on his phone, driving, and he's like, he has his window down. He's like passing the car, and the dude who's like stuck on the back of somebody has his window down. And he's just like, tell him to stop, tell him to stop, tell him to stop, and like gets the semi dude finally pulls over, and he gets out. And he's like, oh, I didn't even realize. How do you realize there's a car stuck to the back of you, man?
Yeah.
Neither of you saw that? Like,
Nope.
So a car. How did that even happen? A car
Dude,
rammed
just got
into the
wedged
back of it and
underneath
just
the
got
back of the
stuck in the
semi.
back of it. Like
that's kind of what it seems like.
okay.
And I don't know if maybe
How much shit is in your pants if you're the person?
All of it. All of my shit.
like luckily he was going straight on a freeway. If that semi had to make a big turn or of any sort,
thrown the car.
like it,
Like a slingshot effect. Like
Yeah.
when you're
across the
tubing,
highway.
when you're tubing on the water behind a boat and they turn, you're like, vroom. That's the car. Full of shitty pants.
Well,
What
fucking
kind of car was it?
Brown Miguel Dilvid, when we were in high
red
school,
car.
got the top of his car cut off, and he fucking. What saved him was reclining his seat.
Yeah. Yeah. We had Brown Miguel Dilvid in high school was driving to high school and then the semi just decided to come over and merge into his lane and he reclined his seat and it took off the top of his car.
I remember I was at a stop sign in town one time, and this semi, I guess, didn't plan its. I was stopped, and he was turning towards me, and I had to put my car in reverse and back up real quick because otherwise his trailer was going to just run over the top of my car.
Yeah.
Well, then you had some fucking scary shit happen when you were like ran off the road.
Yeah, I got ran off the road. That was fun.
Flipped your
And
gun.
a Jeep.
Yeah. It was great because right when it was happening, like right before it flipped, every story because everyone who's ever had a Jeep and flipped it, and you own a Jeep, they like to tell you that story. Like, man, I had a Jeep, it was great, and then I flipped it. Like, as if you have a Jeep, everyone tells you their I flipped a Jeep story.
So they're just
And
like,
so, like, right before it happened, all of that flashed, like, every motherfucker who had ever told me, like, well, here we go.
yeah, but your shit wasn't. You didn't flip it. You were ran off the side of the fucking road.
The way it happened was we were gonna go camping, so we had like a convoy, and we were all on a 2-lane highway, and we were all in the fast lane, and this chick pulls up in her car and she's in the slow lane, and where her passenger side or her driver's side wheel was, she started merging over into my lane, and her driver's side back wheel would have hit my passenger side front wheel, and so I had to turn, left, and there was no it was just a grass median in, you know, like a ditch of, you know, 10 to 15 feet, and then the other highway that's coming toward us. So it's like, fuck, and then I cut it too hard and went back over the 2 lanes of traffic that we were in, and my girlfriend was with me at the time, and I told her to hold on, and everything was kind of slow motion until we hit the ditch because I overcorrected, and that's when it flipped end over end and then sideways.
Dude, and that shit is crazy because, like, when I had my motorcycle accident, it was exactly how you described it. Everything's slow motion until that point of impact, and you start rolling. So it's like, and then you hit, and it's just like, and you just roll, and then it's over, and you're like, whoa. I remember just looking up at the sky, and then I saw, like I don't know, like a 90s sitcom, like if somebody falls down, then you see, like, faces come in to, like, frame.
Check and make sure you're alive.
They're just like...
Well, yeah, we had to climb out the back windshield, or the back window of the Jeep, the, you know, rear windshield.
Yeah.
Which is not big.
That was a green one, or the
There was a green
tan
one with the green one with the tan top, and then the other one was like champagne colored.
Yeah.
But we had to crawl out of the back of that, and then we see Jimmy Jermack just running like up to us because he was behind us. He thought we were dead.
Yeah. Luckily,
Still-
you did have other people with you, so you had like a convoy. Instead, if it was just you,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Well, we got really lucky because that person kept driving.
Yeah.
Because they, like, come to find out they didn't have insurance, they had a suspended license, they fucking, like, didn't have a home phone number, and their car was just filled with boxes, like they were just fleeing town. But somebody saw it happen on the service road and chased them down. We got lucky. There were a lot of people who pulled over to help. It was pretty. It's one of those things where you're like, oh, maybe everybody isn't a shithead.
Yeah. When push comes to shove, people care. It's
Yeah.
just that, you know, when nothing's on the line, people are douchebags. But then when, you know, when it comes time to do the right thing, I think most people do, you know.
Yeah, we attempted to go camping until the shock wore off, and I felt like I had just gotten the shit kicked out. I was like, I gotta go home.
Yeah. Because then
Everything
adrenaline wears
hurts.
off, and you're like, wow, my body is
Well, I
bruised all over.
I was a dumbass, and I wasn't wearing a seatbelt, and it was a hardtop Jeep, thankfully, because otherwise I would have. Because we almost took the top off. It probably would have been ejected from the car.
Yeah.
And it probably would have landed on me, which would have ruined my life by
Yep.
ending it probably. But like I was what broke the windshield because I was just holding the steering wheel so hard that the steering wheel was bent like this because I was just like flopping around in the car where girlfriend had her seatbelt on because she had been in a horrible car accident in her younger years.
Yeah, so she had
So
another
she-
one.
But she was fine. She was like, "You mean you want to go home?" Like, yeah, I hurt everywhere.
Yeah.
Like, was legitimately pissed off at me. Like, my car's dead. Fuck you.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, not to mention the fact that, like, internal bleeding is a definite, like, possibility.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like-
Which I waved the ambulance. They showed. I was like, I ain't doing that. Fuck off.
You definitely should have went to the hospital.
I did go to the hospital that night.
Okay.
Just go to get checked. Yeah, because
Yeah.
like you said, internal bleeding. And then you don't want to go camping and be out in the middle of nowhere and then find out, like, oh, I have injuries, you know, that I didn't know about.
Yeah, but our friends drove us
Because
to
then
town.
I might be reading about you in one of my David Paulides books.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Our
Strange disappearance. Of
we got dropped off at Hardee's in town by the highway, but because we had like 40 people going camping.
Yeah.
Like our friend just has property and like we would just do that. But other friends were funneling in through the night, and they would like, if they weren't camping, they'd still go to the bonfire. And so like, some of them showed up at Hardee's because it was like the only place to eat at that exit. And they're like, "Oh, what's up, guys? Why are you guys covered in blood and look like shit? Your car's dead."
Yeah.
That's why the second car I got was Jeep because roll cages are pretty fucking tits.
I had it when I had my motorcycle accident. It was so strange because like I got up and I didn't feel that much pain at first because of the adrenaline. And then
Shit's awesome.
yeah,
Like the
well,
human body is fantastic.
yeah, it's weird because I'm like I'm fine. Like I remember being amazed at how fine I was
Until.
until
Yeah.
until about a minute and a half later I was like, oh, this is not right. I can't like move my leg.
Well, yeah, you had a broken thing, so your
Yeah.
your problems showed up because mine was just like lots of bruising and just like
Yeah.
Just getting the shit beat out of me, basically. And then it was just like, I can't move. Because everything hurts.
You know
It's
how-
stiff.
You know when you break something, for I don't know why, but for some reason, like you break your arm, you're like, oh, my arm's broken, and you can move it for a while, but then within a few minutes, it like goes, and
Your
you just
range of
can't
motion-
move it at all anymore.
It's when you stop moving it.
It
for
like
a period of
sets
time.
in like a certain place.
Because it's the same thing that happens, like, you know, like when you like work out your legs for the first time in like months or some shit, or years, depending on us, and you're like, that night you're like, oh, that was pretty tender, but then you wake up the next day and you're like, oh, I actually can't
yeah.
move
I
my
need a
legs
wheelchair.
anymore because you stop moving them, so they get in this weird. It has to.
And that's how that was too. Like when I rode the bike home and then I got off. Like I remember kicking my leg over to get on the bike, which was like, you know, sort of difficult. But then I rode it home. It was like a mile, and then I couldn't get off.
Yeah, because you were in that.
'Cause I was like,
you weren't using your legs
Yeah,
anymore. You
and
weren't
my
keeping-
leg was like a board, and I was like, I can't.
So all your
Yeah,
muscles
you
just
can't
tensed
pivot.
up and started like going into that repair mode.
Yeah, it was so crazy. And then I called my stepdad. I was like, I gotta go in somewhere. This is wrong.
Because when I fucked up my ankle, I don't know if any of you there at Tony's, and I was like fucking around, drunk obviously, and I was like jumping, and I fell and hit my ankle weird.
Oh, what
And
age
then-
were you?
I don't know how old we were at the time, but
I was
21,
drunk. I was
obviously.
12.
But like, and I was like, dude, I'm fine. And I was doing stuff all night and doing dumb shit to show how fine my ankle was. And I literally got up from bed the next day, spun around my bed, stood up, collapsed to the fucking dirt.
Yeah,
Just
sure. That's
like,
right.
okay, time
Yeah.
to go to the hospital. Yeah.
You guys ever had broken ribs?
No.
I've had bruised ribs. I can't imagine broken.
Breathing, coughing,
Yeah.
laughing,
Everything, just breathing.
shitting, everything hurts your chest. And you can't put a cast there. You can't, it's just, you just got a couple
horrible.
weeks of horrible.
Just wait till that cartilage fills in the gaps, bro.
Yep. I got a pinky that doesn't straighten all the way because I broke it.
Yeah. I broke both my pinkies simultaneously.
Most violent hand job ever.
We were playing Troy in football, and it's like freshman year, and it was fucking fall. It was cold as shit. It was raining, so we're like literally frozen. Everyone's just sitting on the sideline, like grabbing your dick because it's like the only warm part of your body. You're trying to keep your hands somewhat warm so you can still like catch and grab a ball. And then like, all right,
Or two.
So we went out to do an onside kick because it was getting late in the game, and it was so fucking shitty weather that like no one had scored in the game yet, and like we just want to get the ball back. So it was an onside kick, and I took off running for it, and I just dove like this, and I essentially just another dude on the other side dove, and my fucking pinkies just went right into his shoulder pads. Diving, got up, like didn't get the ball, got up, and I was like, "Fuck!" And a couple people like, "Oh, good try, man, good effort," blah blah blah. And I seriously finished the game. Got done. We're like in the gym eating chili because like they'd always feed us after games. I'm sitting there just like, started falling out finally, and I was like,
Hands don't work.
"Ah!"
Yeah. That's why I didn't play this shit, man.
Nope.
Never did. Everybody
Pinky
was like,
wasn't
you're
bad.
big. You need to play football and be a lineman. I was like, you can fuck right off.
I remember being followed around by. He was our quarterback for our age. I'm just not
Tossing?
saying. Well, yeah, I was just not saying his name.
I just said his last name.
That's fine. But his mom followed me and my mom around for registration before school. Like, you need to play football. It's like, you need to fuck off, lady. I'm a goth kid.
Yeah.
You need to fuck alone.
Yeah.
I always enjoyed playing sports, man.
Jeremy,
But I played
Jeremy
him- I
was
played
into
him
it,
like-
man. He's good.
I played him like my whole fucking life.
Yeah.
Football wasn't my thing. Baseball was my thing. But it was fun. I like basketball a lot, but that was only because like Jimmy Marshall and me played on this team before high school, before middle school, 8th grade. Like we played on a team
I
together.
like how we're just saying everyone's names. Is that
It's not
something like-
me. It's this guy.
They're like, fuck
Talking about
it.
people. So, Jimmy was a couple inches taller than me at this time because I hit like 6 foot in like
You did. You had that crazy growth spurt.
like I was taller than Tommy
Still
and
waiting on
Jeremy,
mine.
and then they just both passed me up, and I just because like I hit 6 foot in like 6th grade,
Yeah.
and I was like, I'm gonna be a giant. Nope, I'm gonna be 6 foot. So like me and him, they called us the Twin Towers. This was way before 9/11, obviously,
Yeah.
and we both played down low, and they were just like, get the ball to us, and we would just.
Well, what was it? 8th grade? Is that what you said?
This was like
I
6th
was gonna say
grade.
because that's not forever. That's like next year.
Yeah.
But and I realized I'm not good at basketball. I was just taller than everyone else, and
Well,
once
even that
everyone else
guy
caught up
wasn't-
to
yeah.
me,
But you were.
I wasn't as good as I thought I
You had
was.
the advantage though for a while. You're like,
Like,
yeah,
right.
I'm awesome at basketball.
I'm pretty good at this game. No, I wasn't. I was not.
I was decent at like shooting the basketball and like getting in the hoop, but I couldn't fucking keep. Like I was chubby, so I couldn't
Dude.
keep up with everybody.
Dude, the cardio of basketball
It's
is pretty
crazy.
intense. Hockey's cardio is really intense.
Yep.
You know what game I was good at? Red Rover. Clotheslining motherfuckers. That was a good
I don't
one.
know what Red
That's
Rover is.
supposed to be clotheslining people in red.
And then
Rover.
because I was always kind of short and stocky, you just go like this and just barrel through.
Fucking
Red Rover was awesome.
yeah, you could have maybe been a great white lineman, or running back.
you said white lineman.
White,
The great white lineman.
There's lots of great white linemen. I meant running back.
I don't want to do that.
So Aaron Hernandez. So did you hear all the stuff that's coming out with that stuff?
Well,
You know,
he
I
got
heard
Heard some, yeah,
he
heard
got
some.
acquitted of the double murder, but he was still serving
No.
life for the
No,
other murder.
check this out. Okay, so
I know he's dead.
Aaron Hernandez was a
Tight end.
tight end for the New England Patriots. He had played 3 years, which 3 years he was getting ready to start his 4th season when he got arrested and all this stuff like that. And it's in like Massachusetts. Massachusetts has a law. So there was a signing bonus that he was supposed to have that hadn't been turned over to him yet, and New England ended up holding on to it because they're like, oh, he violated contract.
He murdered people.
Well, in the state of Massachusetts, if you die while you're in the process of an appeal, the original trial is null and void. So technically, Aaron Hernandez dies as an innocent man, never proven guilty, thus never breaking his contract, thus forcing New England to turn over his signing bonus
To his family?
to his daughter. Because he's been with the same girl since high school, but they have like a common law marriage.
Yeah.
And Massachusetts doesn't recognize them. So unless he has a will that gave her the money would go to his
kid.
daughter. But also because of that, since he played at least 3 years, his NFL pension will end up going to his daughter. So people are like thinking that it's possible that he iced himself
To do
Dude.
that. Get
Oh,
his
sure.
money.
and just so his daughter could be kind of set up somewhat.
Yeah.
Kinda. The broad set.
It's really fucked up though. Like that duality of man of like being able to murder someone
Well, I think
and
most
then
people
do something that righteous, I guess, in a sense. He's still a piece of shit.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong.
I
He's
think-
still a piece of
I
shit.
mean, even serial killers still love their mom for the most
Yeah,
part,
that's
unless
true.
they were the kind that
Unless their mom was the cause.
Yeah,
of it.
I mean, like there were interviews of Jeffrey Dahmer and his dad, like in prison.
Dude, that shit is so,
So, I mean,
fucking
like-
weird to me. Like how your
I know.
son eats people.
He's still your kid.
I know.
And
It's
you're
weird
like
to me.
sitting there next to him in an interview while he's talking about eating people, just like, that's my boy. Like,
Well, I don't
how?
think he's like, that's my boy. I think he's like,
I know, but like, I'm just saying, like,
Apparently, like science says that basically most people, like 98%, 99%, 99.5%, whatever it is, of people are about morally the same. So we're all pretty much moral. Like ethically, we want to do the right thing, but basically, you need the extremes to breed the normal. So like, you need the like sociopathic, fucking crazy murderers, and then like the people that only want to just help people and give the charity. So that way, in our species, most people can be towards the middle. Because if you don't have the extremes, you can't get that average to make most people. You know what I mean?
Well, that, and I think most people in general would like, if your kid murdered somebody, you'd be like, okay, well, we're gonna go turn you in and take care of this, and I still love you, and you're my child, but we gotta do what's right. And
I don't envy. To me, that's like just as bad as being like in jail for that, like that punishment of knowing that your son was a serial killer or something. That's fucking horrific. To still have to still have feelings for your son as a son and still love that person, but still know like he killed 18 people and like you know
Right.
That's crazy.
Well, since we're on this topic, Facebook killer.
Well, before we move on to that, the thing where we were talking about you were talking about like offspring and like having that attachment. This is like kind of a weird side note, but like I read this whole study on plants, which is really weird. It ties into the whole like offspring thing.
The happening.
Yes. Well, one other side note, they did like a test where they hooked up shit to like measure sensory output of a plant, and then they like yelled at it and did things like that. And they didn't really get a response, but then like they went and like cut it. And literally, like, right before they cut it, there was a spike on the sensory output. The way that, like, a person would, like, flinch before, like, watching yourself get your finger about to be chopped off. But this guy did the thing where he put up a bunch of speakers in his vineyard, and he played music to keep pests away. And all the grapes that he was growing that were right around these speakers grew like 3 times bigger than like it was like bigger, a little bit smaller, and got smaller away from them. And then as it got to the next speaker, it got bigger. But they ended up doing a study, and that because like a plant has a mom and a dad, the same way that most living organisms do. And if you put a plant in, like they took a plant from a family in the water and they let it grow. And then they put a plant from the same family in there and measured like how much it took and blah, blah, blah. Well, they did the same thing with out-of-family plants. And when there's plants from different families, they fight to take as much of the resources possible.
Instead of sharing.
But when they're from the same family, they actually don't. They take like as little, like, so when you, like the reason our vineyards and like a lot of our plant shit is so good is because we've created these hybrids that are all from the same family.
They're all like
so they share the resources.
The same one. Yeah.
They share the resource and make sure that all the plants get what they need to their ability. And I was like, that's kind of fucking crazy, really.
That is crazy. Well, if you think about it, it makes sense because we associate consciousness with beings that move and blink their eyes and react to certain things or whatever. But that's just there's no law saying that there's things that can't move like that aren't conscious. Well, it's just that we don't view them that way.
Right, and it's just because they obviously pick up whatever chemical that their family produces. It's almost like like a bloodstream, like DNA.
Yeah,
they can like sense whatever they can
like
in the water to tell. Right, that this is from the same parent group as them, and they can tell when it's not. Like, it's just I don't know. It's kind of crazy to me, like because you don't think of your fucking roses being that advanced.
No,
but
we do. I mean, it is true that I think that you and I can, especially since doing Strange, like we just our other show. Things are definitely not as they seem. Ever.
Not at all.
So like we as humans like to think like, oh, we have everything figured out. We know the laws of physics and all this stuff. But then there are things that come along that just defy that, and we're just dumbfounded. And I think a lot of times we like to just be like, well, that's just some weird shit or whatever, and we don't give it the credit that it is due.
That's true. So Facebook killer.
I mean, it's not necessarily about him specifically, but it's more about Facebook Live
and how fucking
well
they need to learn how to monitor this.
Well, the
shit
thing
properly.
is, like, it's really cool because you can like, here's my kid's first steps, and share it with everybody. Or when we've streamed Facebook Live, but the thing is, that's terrifying is we're opening this window to let fucking monsters broadcast this shit live, and it seems that there's no recourse that we've figured out on how to monitor. Like the Facebook killer, that shit was up for hours before they did it. There was those kids who kidnapped that handicapped kid
and tortured him
over race, and they're being charged with a hate crime. He was like kidnapped for days, and they were broadcasting it for days.
And that's the thing, like, because we're at a sense because of the internet.
It's not even just that. I mean, like, there have been like multiple gang rapes that are like broadcast live, and just it's not reported.
One, that's what I'm saying. People aren't reporting it. And I think part of it stems from the fact that, like, I can go on YouTube and watch, like, fake rape videos and other things where people are fucking around, they're doing jokes, they're doing this and that. And it's impossible to know what's real or isn't real anymore when you're watching some of
I think
this
if you're
stuff.
seeing full penetration,
Well,
No, I agree.
At that
what I'm
point,
saying is,
yeah, but-
who's watching these people's live stream? We're not watching it. If we saw that shit, we would
but
be like,
yeah. I mean,
what I'm saying is, like,
it's really touchy because I, for one, am of the mind of like the less censorship on shit, the better.
me too.
Like, it's really awesome that you can say "goddamn" and shit on TV, and like I don't
Well-
care. I mean, the more that we make saying curse words and other things hang up, the more people won't get their panties in a bunch about
right.
simple things like language.
And
But
this is
like monster shit that's happening.
This is stuff that kids should not have to see stumbling upon it, and it is traumatic for them to see. And
I think it
not
would
even
be
just
traumatic
kids.
for anyone to see an actual gang
It
rape.
is traumatic, but what do you do to prevent it? Just censor everything? No, you
Well,
don't.
they don't seem to have any
because
system in
those
place.
ends don't justify
Well,
those means.
I don't think you can really put a system in place.
You can't.
It's
But
impossible
I'm saying
to
you can't.
monitor the amount of videos that are probably going on at
What
a
I'm
time.
saying is, if they just were like, let's just get rid of the Facebook Live thing. No, because the damage.
Well, no, I don't think anyone's saying do that. People have to report it, but then we're gonna cross.
And that's
we're gonna
fucking terrifying that people aren't reporting these things.
Well,
People like morbid shit.
like I said, the gang rape, yes. Like if I stumbled onto a video where it looked like some like on YouTube per se, and it was like some people like torturing a dude, I'd be like, that's probably not real.
Yeah.
Like I did, you know what I mean? Like that's probably not real.
It's kind of different when it's live, though.
And some people have.
You see them cut because they scalped that dude.
I'm just saying, based on like the way people like, there's so many people that like to like shock value fucking motherfuckers and
Yeah, but to
try
do
to
that,
fuck with
to be
people.
a bunch of teenagers doing it live like that,
I think live's a different beast,
and like, what does that say about our culture when people don't report that shit? As much as we were just talking about people don't suck because they pull over when you flip your car,
Yeah.
they'll sit and just watch a gang rape on Facebook
Well,
Live.
I don't know if how many people are just sitting there watching it, as opposed to like.
People also might not really know how to report it. It might be like,
It's like a report button right next to it.
well, yeah.
It's literally
Well,
on the
that's the
screen.
thing,
You're
too.
looking at it on the.
I don't. Do you know how many reported items Facebook gets a day?
Agreed.
It's
And
probably,
there needs to
it's
be
probably
like
They probably
in
get to it.
the millions.
there
Right.
needs to be something that maybe prioritizes a
Based on what's going on,
Facebook Live
Live
complaint.
needs to be like the top priority of
Yeah.
monitoring
Yeah.
the reports.
And there should be like I don't know if there is one or not, but there should be. They should immediately implement like a. Why are you reporting it? A, because you find it offensive. B, because it's not. You just don't want to see it. Or C, is this a murder or
See,
some
even
sort
that,
of
I
like?
feel like will just be abused by people who are just super offended
Well-
by like this is the equivalent to murder.
But then you put it. But then you put a stipulation on it where if you report that like say 3
like a
times,
911, like emergency.
then
well,
maybe
if
your
you-
Facebook is
yeah,
suspended.
if you
for
report it
reporting
3
dumb
times,
shit.
you get 3 strikes, then your Facebook is fucking gone. You're done. Like if you're using
yeah.
it for fake,
There's got to be something because this shit's fucking horrible. And then that guy who I guess the other day did a terrorist attack in California, which we haven't heard anything about. I think it happened Tuesday. This guy went on Facebook Live and was basically like, "When you mess with me, you get death and destruction." And then he went out and Allah Akbar and like shot to death 3 white guys in California because he was. They were charging it or claiming it was a hate crime because of his post on Facebook, talking about how he hated white people. But, I mean, he also yelled Allah Akbar, which, if it walks like a duck and talks like a duck, we're just going to say it's
right,
terrorism.
right.
Yeah, it's interesting because see that this thing like YouTube has live,
Yeah, a lot of
and we don't have these type of problems. At least not that I'm aware of or been made like.
I think the reason that they do it on Facebook is because Facebook is used by
It's a more of a
30-year-olds to
social
60
network.
yeah, it's like all housewives and stuff use Facebook. They're not going to necessarily see it if it's on
Right, but
YouTube Live.
There's some sort like if I was gonna go out and commit crimes, I can set up a fake email at on an IP that is nowhere near my house.
Most people don't know how to do that, though.
Just go to a... Never mind. I'm not going to teach people how to do it. That's a bad idea.
But I'm just saying, your average Joe doesn't know how
But
to
I'm
do
saying,
that.
well, even if so, you could still set up an email account on YouTube, and it doesn't actually tie to you the way your Facebook does. These dudes are just doing it straight from their Facebook page.
Let's be honest.
It has your name and where you work and where
these
you're
are the dumbest
where you went to high school
ever.
I don't
who
think
your
they're. I
friends
don't think they're
are.
really trying to get away with anything. I think it's
It's true.
their last hurrah. Like, here you go, motherfuckers. This is what I'm
Well,
doing. And then just
the ones who tortured that kid, they didn't have. I don't think they expected anything to happen to them.
I don't know what the fuck they were thinking because they were out of their goddamn mind. They must have been on drugs or something because, like, there's no way. Like the guy, the one guy, the Cleveland dude, he did it and then he claimed to have killed more people.
Yeah.
And like kind of went on the run or whatever. But he had to know at some point in his heart of hearts that he wasn't fucking. He
Well, I
was
think he said that he was going to go until they stopped him.
right.
Apparently, the last spoken words he had to another person were, "I need my McNuggets."
Yeah.
Well,
Which that's a crazy story.
like-
They're like, yeah, we have a problem with the fryer.
And that, you know how fucking ballsy that chick
Yeah.
was to delay his McNuggets because he could have just shot her. And I'm actually curious. I mean, do you think he maybe murdered more people, and they just didn't talk about it because they don't want to give him the glory, or?
Probably not, because I think that would be leaked somewhere.
Well, yeah. I mean, especially with our fucking knuckle fuck media that glorifies all of these people that do that.
Yeah.
Like, there's a guy whose name is very similar to yours, and he kind of actually looks like you, who committed fucking mass murder and is dead. And the only reason I know his name is because they just keep talking about him all the time. It's like, that's what these people
What's
want.
his name?
Dylan Roof.
Oh, Roof. Yeah,
Oh, that guy, yeah.
He's a little more gingery than you.
Where were you 2 weeks ago?
This
This was like,
a year
he
ago.
shot up a church in the South, a black church. He was
Oh, yeah, I remember
hoping
that.
to inspire a race war. But I mean, like, these people, we know all of these motherfuckers' names, and that's what they want. They want the fame of being a crazy person.
Here's the thing.
And I don't think they should
I mean,
talk about them. It's give them what they want.
I understand the philosophy of not glorifying it, but that stuff doesn't faze normal human beings like us. Like,
Well, no, but
a year from now, I'm not gonna remember off the top of my head Dylan Ruth's name.
Yeah.
Even though it's almost my fucking name.
Yeah.
I'm not
You
gonna.
will now.
Well, I
that
didn't
you-
think I would have remembered it last year,
the
but
terrorist
I still
couple from California. I
Yeah.
don't remember their fucking names right now.
Yeah, but dude, what are we?
What I'm saying is,
what,
like-
no, but what are we doing right now?
Again, we're doing the bad thing.
Well, no,
But I feel like
you
they
can't talk.
should.
It's hard to talk about how the media does it without using examples.
I know, but
It
I'm
seems
saying-
like they give them like it's reading the back of a baseball card with how many people and what they did and all. It's like
and
But
why they
it's
did
gross.
it.
At the same time, though, you can look at it from the alternative direction. Those people deserve to know what happened to these. The people that were murdered. Their story needs to be told too. It's just
I
that people
think
need to
there's
focus on the victims and
yeah,
less on-
that's the thing. I can't name one goddamn victim from any of these
Yeah.
mass shootings, but you know, Dylan Roof and was Jared Lautner I think he was the
Is that the Columbine guy?
no, he was the movie theater guy, I think.
Oh.
So I mean, like, you hear all these, it's just retarded.
Well, that's the thing. Like,
And our
like,
society is sick and twisted.
I mean, the problem is that you have people who are like out seeking recognition, and then they see the people talk about it on the news that way, and then
Yeah.
they're like, all I have to do is something horrible. Like, for normal people, it's not an issue. And like my guess, my problem is like I'm sick of the world in the sense of like we have to cater to these small little groupings because of shit like this.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't care if you tell me the Dylan Ruth's name 100 times in the story, and we talk about the victims, we talk about everything. This is what happened. But we have so many fucking psychotic fucks who then get it in their head that, like, oh, if I do something like this guy, and then we get another shooting, and then we get another shooting, and we get another fucking terrorist attack, and it's like these fucking people are ruining it for fucking everyone. Like, we have to watch what we
Here's-
say and
here's
how we
something
say
too,
it,
though.
what we do,
Right.
because of this small.
it seems like it almost needs to fit a narrative though, because there was that attack in California in the school 2 weeks ago where the guy went and shot his ex-girlfriend.
Yeah.
Or like future ex-wife and killed himself, her,
Yeah.
and like shot 2 kids or something. And the thing is like, we know Adam Lanza's name because he was mentally, unstable, and he took the gun from his mom and he went and killed. He was the Newtown guy.
Yeah.
Whereas this other one was supposedly a black male who did it and used a small caliber revolver.
Yeah.
And just, it doesn't fit that narrative of AR-15s are bad, and it wasn't a white guy who did it.
That story was literally up and down so fast.
I only heard about it on the radio.
Yeah.
I didn't even see anything on the
There
news
has to
about
be
it.
it has to be the crazy white kid teenager with the AR-15 assault, the assault rifle, or it's a Muslim dude.
Yeah.
If it's anybody else,
Well, even if it's a Muslim, apparently, because the guy who that I talked about earlier, who shot the 3 white guys and yelled "Allah Akbar," they weren't talking about how it was possible terrorism. They were talking about how it was, hate crime. And then there was that attack in Britain, I guess either earlier this month or last month, where he ran a car into a bunch of people and jumped out with a knife and stabbed a cop to death before he got shot to death. The first thing that they were trying to do was not, it's not a Muslim. He's from this other place, but he was a Muslim. In fact, he had him and his wife got divorced because he became extremely, not radicalized to that point yet, but was like extremely like right-wing conservative Islamic, and converted. He had like 2 daughters with her, and one of them was like dressed as a model all the time and going out in free spirit. And then he got his younger daughter to kind of, you're going to wear the hijab and but yeah, it seems like even if it is a Muslim these days, they try to they'll find anything. It seems like whenever something happens, they're like, don't be a Muslim, please be a white guy, please be a white guy, which I don't want to go down this road because I don't want to sound racist.
The pendulum always swings, right? So in 1850, if somebody, say you just heard about somebody that shot somebody else, you'd be like, there was such blatant racism at that time. They'd be like, it's probably black guys, probably Mexican or Muslim or whatever. Okay, so but now the pendulum swing the other way, where we hear about it, and then we're so sensitive that we're just like, let's just make sure, let's just this guy's not a Muslim, whatever. We just need to look at the facts. If he is, he is. If he isn't, he isn't. You know what I mean? It's not.
And here's the thing: California's got the strictest gun laws on the goddamn planet in America. California is ridiculous when it comes to just trying to own a firearm.
I think that's the thing. I'm tired of news and media, and it's both. I'm tired of fucking kiddie-proofing my information.
Yeah.
I'm not a fucking child. I don't need it fucking
spinning it to
kiddie-proofed.
fit a narrative.
Well, and don't spin it either way. Don't be
just
racist.
like this is what it is.
Don't be racist.
This
but
dude
don't also
shot these
deny,
people for this reason, according
Exactly.
to what we know right now.
But yeah, that guy, he killed 3 white people, or he killed 3 people in California. Whereas in Missouri, where we have constitutional carry, earlier this week, someone was driving in the city, popped out of like the moonroof of a car, and started shooting an AR-15 at people at a gas station. People at the gas station returned fire. Like, how awesome is it that guy just didn't get to sit there and try and pick people off?
Yeah.
Because we have the ability to defend ourselves.
And that's an argument, because for every situation like that, there might be a situation where somebody accidentally shoots somebody.
Well, I think
it's a complicated issue.
It is, and there were a couple issues in the beginning when constitutional carry passed. Like, one guy got mugged, and then he shot the mugger in the back because he thought that was okay, which it's not.
Yeah.
Sadly to say, as much as I think it would be awesome to be able to shoot the guy who just tried to steal all my shit in the back, I wouldn't care, but it's against the law.
Right.
But
like if somebody breaks in your house and they're
running
away down the street, you can't.
He
just
didn't
shoot
read
them
the
in
law,
back. Yeah.
so that guy we went to high school with, he was stealing someone's car and got shot to death.
Exactly.
Well, yeah, because I know a long time there was like the whole thing, like he's like if someone breaks into your house and you shoot them, make sure you kill them. because then
And then
there's no
well,
way
even
for
then
them
it was,
to,
and
like-
that's only in like castle law states,
right.
Because even that's iffy.
Well, they're just saying like it's much easier
Yeah.
to not get convicted if the dude's dead. And
Well,
your
you
story
have
is
to
the other
be-
story.
you
Like
have to-
that's fucked up, but it's like it's fucked up that that's how twisted this shit is.
But it still does. I mean, depending on what viewpoint you take, it makes sense because. So if somebody's coming in your house to steal your car and they're trying to drive away with it, or steal your computer and they're trying to leave, and then you shoot them in the back of the head. Yes, they were illegally in your home and taking your shit, but they weren't. There was no threat to you at that
They weren't threatening
moment.
your life.
So like, yes, it's shitty of them to do, and people get pissed because people work very, very hard
Yeah.
for their home and the things in their home. But
honestly,
you can't
yeah.
just murder someone like that.
Well, see, I'm a big fan of the belief of if you play stupid games, you win stupid prizes.
I know that, but
Yeah, I understand legally I can't do that.
Yeah.
But I don't know. That's something that I wouldn't mind if they changed that law. But I mean, okay, so back to California's gun laws being so crazy, especially with ARs right now. What you can do is you can buy a lower receiver. That's the only part of an AR-15 that you have to have registered, and that's the part that has where the magazine fits, where your handle, and where your trigger goes.
okay.
And you attach your buttstock to it and all that. But you can buy just this little piece that's this big. That's the only part that has to be registered for for firearm. You can buy that 80% completed, where it doesn't have like the takedown pins, ports, milled, and a couple other things. But you can buy those. You don't have to register that. And since California's gun laws have gotten so nuts, sales of that and like milling equipment in California have gone up. Like if you go to Harbor Freight and just say like, oh, I need to buy like a hand mill and
Right.
like a this, like they'll look at you like building ARs. Like how fucked up is it that that state has turned so many of its law-abiding citizens into felons? Because it's a felony
Well, and
having an
that's
unregistered handgun.
that's that classic argument is, well, why not loosen it up a little bit and have more accountability on the people that buy them and whatever, than to have people milling their shit and having no way to track these guns.
Because obviously gun control doesn't work in California. Because look at all the horrible shit that happened like this month in California, and then San Bernardino, and like none of that shit. Those were people who were following gun laws.
We have to be. I think we just have to be somewhere in the middle. We can't have everybody in the fucking face of the planet owning guns and felons having guns and fucking mental illness.
If they're non-violent crimes, I still don't even have a problem with it. Like if you were committing like tax evasion to the point of felony, or if you were like just stealing money, like white collar criminals, like committing forgery
Yeah.
or identity theft, as if you weren't hurting anybody and it wasn't a violent crime, I still don't have a problem with you having a gun.
I think there's something to it. I'm inclined to agree with you on that.
I mean,
But I feel like there is a gray. Yeah, I mean maybe like tax evasion would be different, but
if you're not
it's
in trouble
still-
for beating the shit out of people or showing violent tendencies,
it still shows a tendency to break the law willingly and a disregard for the law. I'm not saying that it's related, but I'm saying that
I agree with you. And the thing is that my argument then will be, if you allow them to legally purchase the gun, you at least know that they legally own a gun, as
That's true.
opposed to them going through the gray area or going through the back door and using their tendency to not follow law to still buy a gun.
yeah, I think I agree with you on that.
Which is
at first thought, because I haven't even actually thought about that.
because I mean that's the thing that I don't understand. When you make it harder for people to buy guns, they're still going to get them. That's obvious. That has just been proven in effect. They'll
Yeah.
find them any way they
What are you talking
fucking
about?
can.
We've made lots of drugs illegal and no one uses them anymore.
That's what I was about to say. It's people always
When,
get
if you make it
they
legal,
want it bad enough,
you
they'll get
have
it.
to go.
Well,
Most
most of the laws hurt law-abiding citizens. They don't hurt criminals.
What we need that when people want to own guns, we need them to be educated on guns. We need them to we need people to want to take classes and educate themselves about having guns and gun safety.
Right.
We need that.
You can't make
a
that
lot.
mandatory though.
No, I don't
But
think
it
we need
is
to make
very
mandatory, but
helpful and encouraged.
I think it would be a nice
Maybe
public
give a-
service, a public service.
Yeah, like if
campaign,
you can like
you know,
give them free range time or something, you know, because bullets are expensive. Range
well,
time's
and just
expensive.
like drugs, like the thing where it's like, just say no. Don't. That's a fucking ridiculous campaign.
Right, because drugs are fantastic.
Well, because
They're
drugs
great. That's why people do them.
People do drugs because they make you feel good. Okay, at first.
Yeah,
That's the reason people don't do drugs because they make you feel like shit. No,
you wouldn't do that.
they make you feel good, but then they also, at the same time, destroy your life, and you don't even realize it.
Yeah,
So why don't we be realistic and educate people? Like, if you do drugs, you're gonna feel awesome for a month, but you're not even gonna realize your life is falling apart. Instead of just being like, just say no. Like, okay, but I'm curious. But just don't though.
yeah.
Just say no.
No. But yeah, I mean, like
Okay,
I don't
but
know.
you're not telling me why.
I don't know
I
if you
shouldn't
guys
do
have
it.
like bought a gun. You have to fill out an amazing amount of fucking bullshit ass paperwork to even walk out of the store with the fucking thing. Background check. They do a background check on you if you buy them around Christmas. There's a good chance that you're just gonna be put on a waiting. Like when I bought my last one, it was around Christmas, and I had to wait because they were so backlogged that they have to check everybody.
That's
that,
probably
you know,
good because suicides and I think homicides also coincide with the holidays. People do that shit.
Well, just that, and everyone, people, you get extra money. Like, I got a Christmas bonus, so it was like, I want this gun. I've wanted it forever. I got a nice bonus. I'm going to go buy this gun. But, it's you, when you legally are allowed to buy a gun, which most people, I think, will legally take the avenue of purchase that they can, you still have to go through all this bullshit paperwork, and they know that you are trying to buy a gun. And they know that if you do purchase it, that you have the gun.
And it's not. And it's
As
nice
opposed
to,
to,
know
I went and bought it from the guy behind 7-Eleven.
that, right.
Out of that,
Then
Pinto.
a decent human being is gonna know that. Okay, this gun, I purchased it. It's my responsibility. It's registered to me.
Yeah.
So
I don't want it
no
stolen.
one's gonna fucking use this except for me. I don't want it stolen. I'm putting it in a
Yeah.
safe. I'm not giving it.
I'm
to
not
anybody.
letting someone just
You know.
borrow my gun. If you want to go shoot it, that's fine. We're going together to the
Yeah,
range.
we'll go together. It's accountability.
Yeah.
So
Like when me and my family went shooting like 2 months ago, and it was really fun. But like I was on the rifle part of the range, which is at one end with me and my dad, and then my brothers over in the handgun side. And I was just worried because I wasn't around them because they're not as trained
yeah,
or as familiar, and plus they're my guns.
yeah, right.
Which I know they're not going to do anything, but you still have that just like,
But
these are
there's just
things that,
that
I am accountable
The
for.
probability of having an accident is higher with somebody who's not trained or familiar with the firearm. It's not saying that it's high, but it's
Yeah,
higher.
and there was, we had a round get lodged in the barrel, and we didn't realize it, and they fired it again, which thankfully it was just a 22, so it broke the barrel, but no one got hurt. It broke my gun,
Right.
I gotta get it fixed. But.
Right. So yeah, it's a super complex issue, but you have to be somewhere in the middle where you generate results because you can't be too hard. Because people don't fucking care. If they want a gun, they're gonna get a gun.
Yeah.
So give them the means to get a gun, but track them, make sure it's as safe as possible, and and ultimately, sometimes it can be a good thing. Like you said, when the guy pops out of the sunroof, yeah, motherfucker, they ain't lasting long. You might be 20 seconds on that.
This ain't
before you
GTA, motherfucker. We got
Yeah.
guns too.
Yeah.
The new mayor of St. Louis, she was working on a gun control bill that would outlaw basically anything that's not a revolver. Like the maximum capacity is 6 for bullets. ARs are gone. All of that, which would then just turn everyone who lives in that city into an insta-felon for owning an illegal firearm. Now, thankfully, our state has already passed laws that say a city or a municipality cannot pass gun laws that do not coincide with the state laws on guns.
Right.
So she can pass it all she wants. It's not going to be in effect, and those people don't get in trouble. But that's a scary fucking thing.
It is
That you
scary.
can wake up, and if you just aren't politically involved and just wake up, now you own this thing, that you're a felon.
You're a
for.
felon. You don't even know that you're a felon.
And yeah, and that's
But
the
on
thing.
Tuesday,
is like it unwillingly
it
turns a
wasn't
lot
a
of
law.
people into a felon.
Well, and
That happened in, I want to say, New York, where just like they expected all these people to come turn their guns in, and they didn't.
yeah. Well, and like people have, like I know that there was I'm not super informed on this topic, so I'm not expert, but I know that there was there were a few shootings in like Australia, and I know after that the government was just like, fuck it, nobody can own a gun, except for the police. So, and you know, Australians have said like, yeah, our crime has gone down, like, you know, it's been better. However, the entire country of Australia has a population of the greater Los Angeles area.
Right.
Yes.
Most of it is like outback. So
Well, yeah, it's a desolate wasteland. There's a reason they make Mad Max movies there.
When you take like two shootings, like mass shootings that happened in like a year, that just seems to be like a little bit more coincidental because you don't have that big of a population there. So like, and then you ban guns, and then none happened in the next 5 years, and then you attribute that to your gun ban. It's probably just because you don't have the fucking people, you know. So you can't compare Australia with the United States, even per capita, because
right. Well,
it just doesn't make sense.
I love it when people try to compare other countries' forms of government and how they work and how other countries implement certain rules. When you're like, it's like, but that country is the size of, it's not, you know, it's the size of maybe like Kansas. It might have more people in it, but we're talking about a thing that is like not the size and the population density of the United States.
Right, and they'll be like, well, Australia hasn't had any gun crime in the past 10 years. Like, okay, well then let's just, I mean, you can't compare that raw number to America when it's 20 times the population or whatever, because it's not going to, you know, there's going to be more.
Yeah.
We have more people.
Well, then, and like, the Second Amendment isn't for hunting.
Right.
It was made by a bunch of guys who literally just got done shooting to death the people who ran the country before them.
Right.
Because they disagreed with the government. So they were like, well, in case we ever have to do this again, we're going to let the civilian population have guns in case we need to overthrow the government again.
Exactly. And I'm not, dude, I don't have that much faith in the rest of humanity, honestly. Like, when it comes to owning guns, I think there's a lot of retarded, you know,
yes,
really, really stupid.
I watched a 5-minute gun fail, you know, basically compilation the other day of people accidentally shooting out their ceiling and their, you know, just shit like that.
But what's worse, I guess, is the question, is to have some people out there that, you know, a small percentage of the population, they probably should not have guns, and they do. And that's kind of scary. That's scary. You know, generally nothing's going to happen, but they're just not, probably shouldn't have them. But then you can't go the other way where it's just like nobody's having fucking guns. Like, okay, so no one in the country can defend themselves from a murderer?
It's you know? Like one of the oldest sayings. I'd rather have it and not need it than need it and not have it.
Yeah.
And to talk about your fact of people who shouldn't have guns because they're uneducated, the chances of, as sad as it is, them actually hurting themselves is more likely than them accidentally killing somebody else, which it does happen where they accidentally kill themselves, but you know what they don't typically do? Kill like 14 people.
Right. Exactly.
But I'm not saying it's good, I'm just saying like that's...
No, you're not saying it's good, but you have to weigh the lesser of the two.
Yeah.
You know, you have to find out what's more beneficial.
I mean, we also just can't uninvent the gun. I mean, you can make a gun in your house with shit that you can buy at the hardware store in Walmart.
I don't have these actual numbers, but I've been thinking about it in my head. Like, we have more people in this country with guns who didn't shoot anyone this year than Australia. Even though we had more gun crime, we still had more people in this country not commit gun crimes than they had. Right. Even though it's their entire country.
Right. And so that might work for Australia, and I'm glad they're getting results with that. But don't try to blanket that on other countries and stuff.
Right.
It just doesn't.
Right.
You know, it just doesn't. You can't just take a policy.
Well, I mean, because you can look at like Britain, where Britain has no guns. Their police don't carry.
Yeah, their police don't even carry. It's terrifying.
And their police officer was stabbed to death. Like. And then they brought out their guns because they do have guns. They just don't carry them.
You have to call twice for the guns.
Which That's fucking.
You call the cops once, the guy shows up with a billy club. You call him,
Right.
and then if he has to call the cops, then
Like,
they show
I'm
up.
just
with
not
the
gonna
SWAT
call
team.
you because I have a fucking billy club.
There was a
I'm not
fucking,
gonna-
you know, France has really strict gun laws, and there was like a shooting yesterday. in
There's all
France.
kinds of shit going on in France
Right.
now because
and that's the
people
thing.
know they
So,
can
like,
get away with it there.
So like Australia may have this great record, but there's these other countries that do the same thing that don't have such a
Well,
nice
let's
record.
be honest. If you're gonna commit a terror attack, you're not going to Australia. I'm not boarding a fucking plane to go to Australia to do it. I'll
No,
go
you're
to
going
like
Europe,
Britain
where the
or
fucking
like
where they have
France.
open borders and they don't
Also,
check.
shit doesn't really happen in Germany because Germany does not tolerate that shit at all.
Actually, a lot
Yeah,
happens
it's
in
in
Germany.
Really?
Yeah,
Germany's got a really bad problem.
Germany's been falling apart because they brought in like a fuck ton.
They
But I know Germany's super strict on like, you know, even like on like speech, like they're just
yes, but
strict
the
on
problem
a lot
is
of
they are very slow to condemn the migrant
Oh yeah,
population.
That's true.
Like their
Yeah,
their
I didn't
rate
think
of
about that. I
sexual
didn't
assault
think about that.
has increased. Like you remember
they
Carla
were,
Klika?
they were passing out pamphlets on like how to treat women because they brought in so many.
Yeah, that's true.
It's gotten to the point in several
It's-
countries in Europe where they just tell women not to go out at night in certain places.
Well, because
Like-
they would rather
Like
rather tell them
natural born citizens. Like your mom can't go out at night because we let too many immigrants in,
and they
might rape your mom.
her. Like
And it's
What?
not, and to be, but people confuse that though. You know, people over here look at it and they're like, well, are you saying immigrants are bad because they're from, you know, a certain country? No, it's about culture. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not about.
When you're not.
I'm not saying
moving to a
immigrants are
place
bad. I'm saying those immigrants are pretty bad.
Yeah.
Well, they don't have a desire to assimilate to the culture of the place that they are moving to. They are trying to take their culture, which is frankly, let's be honest, not working. I mean, the Middle East is always been on fire forever.
Well, and it just clashes with if you're going to another country, then you abide by that country's rules and culture.
Well, that's what makes sense, but we don't do that, Tommy.
Yeah.
Well, this thing, like, no one's gonna stop you in this country or in Germany of like celebrating your culture, as long as it doesn't involve
Right.
raping, beating, sacrificing, like murdering, like.
You respect the laws of that country. Otherwise, you just stay where you're at, and then that's
Right. I would be disgusted. Like we're not like telling your citizens, your natural born citizens, that they can't live their lives normally because of something like that. That's so fucking crazy to me.
And I think it was Sweden. There was this guy. He was a migrant. He had HIV. He sexually assaulted, I want to say, 2 or 3 women, and gave one of them who was underage AIDS. He is not being deported.
See, that's
He
fucking,
gets to stay there.
that's like murder in this country,
Yeah.
Yeah.
right? I mean, like if you
If you
knowingly
knowingly-
have
I think
AIDS and
so,
you
I
give it
believe
to
so.
someone, it's like
And I think that should stay that way.
I don't know. It's not murder because the person doesn't actually die
It's
right
like-
away, but it's
like
like
manslaughter
attempted
or
manslaughter. Or so it's something where like
It's very frowned upon, and they will fuck you for it.
as they should.
Yeah, I'm not disagreeing. I don't
No,
know
I
the
know. I'm
technical
just,
term, but
I
yeah,
just
they-
wanted to put an
get in
emphasis
trouble.
on that. I know we all agree that you shouldn't give people AIDS if you have AIDS,
Right.
but I don't know that whole thing. That's so fucking bizarre to me. Like that's like
Our world has become too
that's like those stepping
kind of
stones to like a revolution in a country.
hug and pat everyone on the back and say everything is okay when things are clearly not.
Well, and we want to, and it's fine to want to accept people that you think need help and whatever, and that's, I mean, it's admirable. But when you do it at the expense of your country and the expense of the people that are already there, it's not acceptable.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, yeah, we had that German foreign exchange student in high school. I still talk to her, and Germany's not cool right now.
Yeah.
She says that shit over there is scary.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I don't know. Talking about like the whole patting on the head. I remember I read this little article, and it was about
Like the 5th article you've read. I think we get it, Dylan. You know how to read.
I read a lot now, but it was like these people were talking
Fuck
about
you,
like
I know
this-
shit.
it was like
Look
some
at you with your shoes on your feet, reading your books and stuff.
she like went against her school's like dress code and like made a huge protest about like not adhering to the school's dress code. I was like, bitch, Shut the fuck. I go to work. I have a dress code at work.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have to wear a uniform at work, but I have to wear a certain standard of clothing at work. Like my job as an adult. You think that this shit isn't going to be everywhere you fucking go? Like,
Well, it's just a perspective.
but like people are talking, they're like, she's so brave.
Yeah.
No, she's a fucking cunt. Who just
It's
is
the-
like causing trouble for people for no reason.
Well, just, you
for
know,
something stupid.
when you're doing something that you're basically required to do, be it school, be it your job, you know, you're not required to go to have a job, but let's be fucking honest. You got bills to pay, you got to eat, you got to live somewhere. You're required to have a fucking job for the most part. At least I would hope so.
Yeah.
But everything has a set of rules and standards. You want to fucking wear your, like, you know, like, shirt that says, I fucking hate ducks. Or, you know, whatever bullshit that you think is clever and catchy and makes you a rebel. Do that on your own time.
Yeah, it's childish.
Fuck
you
nut.
Well, that's the thing.
And
Like,
that's when people don't have perspective on, you know, we'll take issue A, and that's like, are you, like, in your own mind some way oppressed at your middle school because they wouldn't let you organize some sort of club? We have issue B, where, like, people are getting fucking murdered for, you know, whatever reason. Like,
Well,
and so everybody focuses on, like, the little social
we can
issue.
even, not that drastically, we can take your same argument of, do you feel oppressed because of how, you know, someone told you couldn't wear your t-shirt? Is that a bigger issue than we don't have enough money to feed the poor kids at our school? Like, which is the bigger fucking thing that needs to be paid attention to?
And that's a really good example because that's both involving just that one school.
Yeah.
That's a local issue,
Like,
but one is way more
Our
important
textbooks
than
are
the other.
30 years older. Who gives a fuck about Sally not being able to wear her t-shirt?
Like, when in World War II, when all the American men were fighting the enemy, all the women went to work in the factory. Did they probably want to do that? No. Is that their dream? No. But they fucking did it because it needed to be done.
Can
You
you
know?
imagine?
Like, were their working conditions like stellar? No, but they didn't. They probably didn't complain at that time because they put it aside, knowing like the world is going to end if we don't do this.
Can you imagine today's generation of people who would have been at Normandy Beach storming age doing that?
They'd be like, my
Can you
my
imagine
shirt is
the
fucking
shit
too tight.
show
My
of,
shirt is too tight.
of how
it's a little
it
weird that you went
wouldn't-
gay with it. like
I didn't go gay. You just interpreted that.
There was an inflection in your voice.
there was like your stereotypical gay inflection there.
Well, you know, whatever.
But yeah, I mean, like, it's amazing to see, to look at the, you know, like people like my grandfather and shit who, you know, didn't have a choice and had to go do World War II, and they were the greatest generation and kicked ass and took names
Well,
and
that's-
fucking.
I think that's the big thing, right? They were forced to become great men, whether they wanted to or not. And it was a benefit to them in such a great way.
generation that would be their
What-
age now,
you know what, though?
would
He
be able
has
to
a point.
cope
No,
and-
what I'm
and
saying
meet
is
that challenge.
No, what I'm saying is we've now for a couple generations haven't really like the last 2 or 3 generations haven't had that force to greatness moments coming through.
We haven't,
in
but do
such
you
a
think
way.
they would be able
So,
to meet it if they
They
were?
they would meet it, and then they would come out of the other side.
Hopefully better.
Yeah.
I don't know if they would meet it.
Right now, yes. If nothing major happens that forces us to do that in the next like 50 years, maybe not. Because I think there's enough people like us and people who are still part of that tail end of like our parents who were like not necessarily our parents, but some of like the 40-year-old parents right now, people who are about a decade older than us, who would drag the rest of them kicking and screaming to greatness. Because let's be honest, even back then, there were little fucking chodes in the military who didn't pull their
I
weight,
agree, but
and they had
I'm saying-
sergeants who beat the piss out of them and forged them into something better because there was no choice. I don't think the drill instructors did it because they liked beating people. They did it because they had to have people
just
they
a
could
perk.
count on and rely on the front lines with
Yeah,
other people
but
who
I
were
mean-
pulling their shit. It's-
Otherwise, the world's
Like I
gonna
said,
end.
I don't think we would, because we had an election, and let's be honest, the guy, a lot of people have problems with him, but he's only been in office for like 4 months. Has he been able to enact anything that fucking like? He hasn't like actually passed or signed off on a major bill yet because Congress can't do anything because they're idiots, and we still have like half of the fucking population is like temper tantrum burning their own shit down and beating the shit out of people and
Well,
pepper spraying them because
yeah.
of that type of like. I think literally if we were forced into that situation of we have to go do this, half of the country at this point would just be like, we're not gonna do it. My rights, you can't do it. Like,
Could be.
I don't think people understand.
Well,
And I'm not saying that Trump is the greater good. I don't think people understand putting aside your own personal views for the greater good at this point. I think everything has become so about.
it's true, and that's why I think there's enough good people left that could drag the rest kicking and screaming until they were forged into better. But like I said, if when we get into our 50s and 60s, if nothing has changed, then no, I don't think we would be able to pull ourselves out of that.
Yeah,
in any,
probably not.
We would probably go and get our asses kicked somewhere because we wouldn't have that greatness. Like, we've always had this greatness in this country, this like driving factor of like bigger, better, stronger. You know, we're gonna build the biggest shit. We're gonna build the best shit. We're gonna fucking forge an empire, a culture. Our culture is gonna be the greatest on earth. It's gonna just explode, and people. I mean, like, there's so many countries who just like, what, Japan's like in the fucking 80s of America because they love our fucking culture so much that they're just like,
behind
we're
the
just
curve on
we're
it.
just gonna fucking follow their culture because it was fucking great. Like, our
I hope they skip the 2000 teens.
I'm saying, like, our art and our culture has just exploded across the world. Our military power, everything like that. Like, we strove for that, but like, we got to the top, and we started fucking, instead of pushing farther down that road of greatness and just leaving everyone behind, we like hit the brakes and started focusing on so much dumb shit that really is just so trivial that it's fucking like twisted the minds of the common man in this country, and it's not good. It isn't good.
Well,
I don't know.
on that note,
On that happy note,
we're at an hour 6.
good. Fuck David.
We kind of went down a weird rabbit hole.
That
That
was
got
good, though.
political.
It was a good change,
But-
from what it used to,
Never
you know,
mind.
from what it normally is. It's a good change. I like it.
It's because David's not here talking about fucking Shrek every 10 goddamn minutes.
Kung Fu Panda, the perfect
Or Kung Fu
movie.
Panda. I'm sorry, I fucked it up.
All right.
So, thank you guys. This has been episode 10 or 11. It's this point. I think it's 11. I don't think there's going to be a bracket 11 because I don't think we have anything planned for a bracket
No.
this week. So,
Nope.
But we have a bonus Bra Miguel Dilvid video coming out
Yeah.
that we did.
We could just pocket that in case there's
And some
sort of thing
interviews.
that we don't.
It's true.
Yep.
We already got a pocket thing, but
So
hit
just-
the subscribe and like. And as always, I have been the leader of this shit resistance, Dylan. I said shit resistance.
What does that even mean? What are we resisting?
Shit.
Okay.
Dude, shitting is a pretty big part of
I'm
everyone's
turning the
life.
audio off.
You know,
We're
I'm
done.
signing us on. Dylan,
Tommy.
I quit.
Brad.
Bye.